Welcome everyone to the PvZ Madness channel. I'm sure you have some questions about what's happening on the screen. If you watch the video to the end, you will find out what the hell is going on here. In the meantime, you can give me a like if you like my content, and we will start another check of myths, bugs and other PvZ Madness. I'll start with an interesting question. What if the lady on the rollers from the Neon mixtape is deployed with Battered ult? What happens to the rainbow aura? I answer, the lady will deploy, but her aura will still remain to the right of her person, and she then crushes the Battered when it runs out of feet. I anticipate questions, and zombies in the aura when the lady is deployed will be invincible or the rainbow turns off its effect. I'll check that right away, so I don't leave it for next week. Aura still works, the zombie was completely indifferent to the zucchini blow to the head. Moving on to the next story. Now we are going to have some first-rate PvZ madness, and for it we are going to need a chair rider. Myth tells us that if we deflate that handsome man and hypnotize him at the same time, we will get a paralyzed swallow in flight. Surprisingly, I'm very nimble today and I was able to do it right away. Let's enjoy this beautiful picture, and I managed to catch the zombie in the highest point, just 10 out of 10 on the scale of insanity. In general, this trick can easily be repeated with any blown-able zombie. Actually, that's what I did. I wanted to make a zombie crash. Everything was ready for a collision, but the sneaky healers ruined everything and Z-Cop tripped over Mint. The flyer, though unhypnotized, didn't come to his senses. I had to do it all over again, giving each healer a cherry in the teeth. In this case, the accident took place, I wrote out all the thanks instead of a fine and went to check other myths. Before the next myth will be announced, we are going to suggest I get blown up in the minefield that was left after the explosion from the gunnet. Well, the myth goes like this: Jester can demine the field with his spin skill. Something tells me this is a known theme, but I've never seen it. We shoot at Jester and indeed, he destroys explosive gunnetees with knocked back piece. It turns out that it's not a myth, but an anti-life hack. Let's take note and try to avoid such situations in the game. There is also an idea that Deadman with the skull and neon gag can also demine the lawn. Let's check it out. It turns out that the old man doesn't burn explosive grains, he basically doesn't react to them unless a plant is placed in front of him. Gargantua enjoys waving his guitar, and he does it not easily, but really clears the minefield and all the way to the mover in one blow. In general, we memorize these facts and move on. Many people know that the Lost City Digger can eat spikes if you take away his shovel. To illustrate this, I'm going to do it in a sneaky way. Using Bramble Bash, the Digger has been left without a tool and now we need to plant thorns in front of him. In general, it doesn't matter what you choose, you can simple and you can even stone. Any thorns he will eat without problems and himself will not receive any damage. And now here's a myth that follows from all the above. Supposedly, he will even eat an olive pit. We drive an oily screw into the tile and wait for the Digger to approach. But contrary to expectations, he fell through the bowels of the plant. This myth unfortunately turned out to be just a myth. The next myth is that plants from the reinforcement family can be frozen even while they are ulting. To do this, we need a wine of some sort, plants from the reinforcement family and a reinforcement that causes some plants to ult without feeding them. It worked. The ulting peanut completely iced itself and managed to release literally a couple of its projectiles. This myth turned out to be true, but we won't stop there of course. We're curious, what happens if the block is now defrosted? We get out the hot potato and melt the ice. Oh, did you see that? A huge bunch of peas flew out in a clump right into the hunter. I'll bet you anything he wasn't expecting that. Plants of other families unfortunately will be almost impossible to freeze in this way. I have one idea how to do it, but I will test it in the next videos. Anyway, we tested a cool myth, got a madness at the end and I'm satisfied. Moving on. Another myth. If you drop off a parrot by levitate at the moment when it grabs the plant and is already out of sight, the bird will be forced to return back together with the plant and fly away again. I started to test the myth and found 4 different outcomes when testing it. First, if the levitate is triggered early and the parrot has not yet had time to fly away, the plant will freeze in the air and the bird will first go down, but then still fly away with its prey. If we wait until the parrot completely disappears from the zone of visibility, then it really returns and for a moment the plant also returns with it. That's in this case we see the confirmation of the myth. The third variant. Notice that there is not even a shadow left from the parrot, but the whirlwind has not picked up the pirate, but still tries to throw up the bird that has flown away, and in this case the parrot returns without the plant. And the fourth variant is just throwing the thief out. Yes, I had a chance to throw him off the lawn, and since he was not on the lawn, he flew off somewhere else and never came back. It's a very sad story, but don't feel bad, like I promised, there's some crazy creep stuff at the end. I'm actively collecting material for part 2 of 500 tons of PvZ Madness right now, and this is one of the future plots. If you watched the previous part, you'll remember that after absorbing a level 500 dead guy with speed, he doesn't die but becomes invisible. Know that his head fell off when he fell through, so it turns out that we can restore his visibility. For this we need time. I mean, who else could have done this thing? True, the zombie appears half underground, and most importantly, his head has not returned. That's another way to create a headless horseman. Told you, the madness was creepy. And it doesn't end there. If you call in another madness specialist, namely Bouncy Bob, this fellow throws a decapitated zombie out of the ground. What the hell is this? Last time we got a zombie walking on water with the help of Levitator, Time and Bob. Today Time and Bob created a headless walker. I've had enough of simple madness and now I've gone for duos. By the way, the pit no longer walks on the decapitated zombie, but who can be surprised by that after all I have seen? I hope you appreciate this PvZ Madness of the highest grade and put a like. And I'll say goodbye to you, see you soon!